If someone has submitted their resume, they need to make sure that they include a cover letter as part of the ad. In fact, I think it's written in the ad, please submit a cover letter, which I think is really, really key because it shows that they want the job. They want it enough to write a cover letter. She'll also make sure that the location's right, because sometimes some people are scouring those websites that aren't necessarily in the area. So I'm looking for someone in the Philippines for this particular example I'm going through. She'll also look for prior experience. Gone are the days of me hiring someone with zero experience. I now prefer to pay a little bit more and not have to worry. I like someone who's got that experience, and an extra few dollars an hour is well spent when you're working with some of these outsourcers. And then did they miss any of the basics as well? If you remember right at the start, I talked about consistency, reliability, English skills, those types of things. Some things you can test just by looking at their resume, some things you can't. But I mean, she looks for attention to detail. If their cover letter is really badly formatted, then that's probably going to go to the bottom of the heap. So what she'll do is do the initial pre-screen, and she'll go through just to weed out all of the ones that aren't quite right. And then after that, we do the questionnaire. So once we figure out what the gold is, or at least cull the dirt, and then we've got a little bit more of some people that could be potentials, then I want them to show me that they're interested. And the way that I do that is we send them an email and ask them to fill out a questionnaire. And we want to make sure when they fill out that questionnaire that they display the qualities. Again, at each stage of this process, think about that funnel where we're slowly reducing the amount, getting down to the gold, which is going to be down the bottom. And we're looking for, in this questionnaire, to make sure that they hit the responsiveness, attention to detail, and English. So in the back of your notes again, and this is just behind the job ad, you'll see the questionnaire that we use, or an example questionnaire. This varies depending on the person. We do tailor it slightly depending on what it is that they're going for. But we ask them, why, it's titled up the top, pre-interview questionnaire, but why is the primary role for applying for the position? How many hours would you like to work? Are there any days you're not available? Now this is a key one. What hourly rate would you expect to be paid? You want to make sure that you get their wage expectations up front. They'll nominate. You don't have to, because sometimes it can get all a bit weird when you start talking about money when you're interviewing with people. So I'm right up front. Tell me what your expectations are. That is not necessarily how much you're going to get paid. You will get paid dependent on how much skill, your skill level, as we determine based on what the role is, but just to make sure that they're operating in the same ballpark. There's no point in taking them all the way down the funnel and them turning around saying, oh, by the way, I want $15 an hour to write articles. No, thank you. Next applicant. So you want to do that one early on. Do they have good access to the computer? Obviously important when you're dealing with people overseas. How regularly do they use the internet? Do they know the basics of HTML? Explain some of the previous experience you've had, and then insert whatever the task is that you're trying to hire for. And then list some of the services that you had experience with. And this is more so when we're hiring, let's say, an article writer in the Philippines, and we find, yes, I've already done work with AMA, I've already done work with some of these blog networks, I'm already familiar with those. That's someone that obviously gets an extra little tick if they've had experience with some of the services that they'll be working on. And have they, what is this? What do you believe SEO to be? And obviously SEO is a core part of what it is that we do for a lot of the offshore people, so I make sure that they've got at least a little bit of an understanding. We have a training process that we take them through, and if you remember, mainly what we're looking for in this process is making sure that they have those core qualities, and then these extra little things might just sort the wheat from the chaff, making sure that we get the best quality applicant. Then after we do that, then we set them a simple task, and this is dependent on what it is that they're doing. So if they're going to be setting up WordPress blogs, we'll get them to set up a WordPress blog. So if you imagine each step of the way we're further refining, some people will drop off, and I'll give you a real world example to show you the drop-offs.